Greetings, y'all. Welcome back to the garden. It's the first week of June here in north central Florida, and we finally got some good rain here in the last 3 or 4 days. It had been dry as a bone for about 3 months prior to that, and the garden was struggling, but it was like someone flipped a switch. Once we got this good real rain, everything just sprang to life and has probably doubled or tripled in size. So we'll do a little tour of the garden later, but I especially wanted to focus on the bananas today because I'll show you here in a second. These have especially sprung to life, and I've already got a rack of bananas starting to pop out of the top here, and it's the earliest they've ever done it. So that means they should have a whole spring, summer, everything, and fall to grow, ripen, and mature right here on the plant. So we won't be racing winter quite so closely. So it'll be fun to follow the progress of these banana plants that I've had going for a couple years now, and I've got some other ones that I've transplanted throughout the yard, as well as a couple of new varieties like ice cream banana that we'll check out, along with the overall garden tour as well, just to see how the other plants are coming along. I've been getting some tomatoes, some peppers, my first little watermelons are starting to form. I've been getting mulberries, blueberries, all kinds of fun stuff, so we'll take a look at that as well. But for this episode, we're primarily going to focus on bananas and their babies, and how banana trees actually flower, make fruit, and how to kind of keep an eye on them as they grow, mature, and then what to look for when it's time to harvest. So join me in this episode. Come along, we'll have some fun with banana plants, take a little quick tour of the yard, and just generally check on the progress of things now that we're well into summertime. Alrighty, y'all, just wanted to kind of give you a little sense of scale here as we walk up to this first banana tree patch. As you can see, this thing is only about 2 years old, and it is absolutely monstrous. It's got to be 20 foot high. I'm 6 foot tall, and even with my arm completely stretched out to the very tippy top, you can see I'm nowhere even near reaching them. And they're probably, gosh, a good foot wide at the base. And that's one of the things you want to look for when you see a banana tree starting to mature. You'll notice that the base itself becomes very broad. And the plant, rather than being a perfectly vertical stalk, will actually start to lean, right? Here's a younger plant that is not mature, and it has that nice vertical orientation. Here's one that survived the winter and has now immediately gone into flower once we started getting some good warm weather. And as you can see, it's leaning, it's got the engorged base, and sure enough, it put a flower stalk out of the top. And if you'll reference one of my other videos, which I'll put up here in the corner, I explained how the flower, the bud, that sort of football-shaped flower bud you saw, starts at the base, works its way up the shaft of the plant until it eventually emerges and then starts to open. As you can see, the petals of the flower begin to open, and the very immature little baby bananas are in there. I hope you can see those. Once those are pollinated, they then turn into the more familiar mature fruit we see. And as you can see, on this particular variety, the hands, each little mini clump of bananas, is separated by a few inches on the stalk. Other varieties are much closer together, but you can see why they're called a hand of bananas now, right? It really does look like a hand growing off that stalk. So this flower will continue to open its petals, they will become pollinated and make more bananas. And eventually you can cut that off or leave it. It doesn't really matter. But that's what a banana flower looks like coming out of a banana tree. Alright, y'all, here they are from another angle. And as you can see, the hands are sort of somewhat offset from one another, right? They're sort of 15 degrees apart or so. And I'm not sure if you can see it, but there's actually a little wasp on the banana flower right now pollinating it. And they'll make a nice sweet little scent that you can smell, especially at night. But yes, they're pollinated just like any ordinary flower is. And at the base of them, they almost turn into sort of like a cigar mini banana form that then slowly enlarges and ripens over time. And bananas can take quite a while to ripen, so don't be surprised if yours take many months. They'll stay green for quite a long while, and then they'll start in sort of a squarish shape and then slowly get more and more round in their appearance as they begin to ripen. And once you start to see them get a little bit yellow or less green, let's say, on the plant itself, that's a good time to harvest it. But don't be surprised if it takes several months. Some people even let the rack stay on the plant over winter and then harvest the next spring. I've never done that, but some people have. But yes, it can take quite a while if we're not actually in the tropics. But thankfully, because this guy's flowering so early this year, it has all of summer, all of fall, and even a little bit into winter down here in North Florida to hopefully ripen on the vine, so to speak. So it will continue putting out hands slightly opposed to one another. They'll slowly engorge themselves, and eventually, hopefully, they'll start to ripen and we'll chop them down. All right, y'all, let's take a quick little garden tour here. I'll try not to blather on too much here, but as we make our way to the front gate here, you can see I've got the crepe myrtle in bloom. Don't tell crime pays, but botany doesn't. He'll get mad at me. I've got my Confederate jasmine. We've got the gardenia. They've already bloomed for the year, but they were amazing, smelled great. Here's one of many mega banana patches. This is where we saw the flowers from earlier. Elephant ears getting big, tomatoes coming up on the trellis there. We've got a mulberry and a camellia and some hydrangeas and stuff here. Here's our wisteria, which is just kind of in veggie mode, but was flowering like crazy at the very, very early spring. It was beautiful. As we come through here, we'll make our way over to the fence line. We've got some thornless blackberry with a little fruit coming on. We've got some moringa that's in the ground, starting to take off. Here's one of many of those ice cream banana plants. And like I said, it's really taken off now that we've been getting our good rain. Here's a mulberry. There is some awapui, shampoo ginger, underneath the crepe myrtle here. Here's again another one of those ice cream banana trees. We've got some bush beans. We've got our awapui ginger. We've got canna lilies, papyrus, all kinds of other various gingers coming up. I have both galangal and awapui. This is a Turk's cap hibiscus, which is just getting monstrous and will triple in size by the time the year is over. We've got a planter here with some lilies. You can see the blooms just now starting to come on. Here's my little nursery. This is just some baby hibiscus, variegated hibiscus, papaya. I've got a plant through the yard. I've been putting them all over. Strawberries, they're struggling a little bit, but they are finally starting to kind of come to life, I think. Here's another papaya patch. Here's another mulberry. I've also got a little guava tree. He's hiding, but there's a little guava tree right down in there. If we come over, we've got some more planters here. That's just a bird of paradise. I need to fill that planter back out again. As we come down the little path here, check out this papaya, y'all. This one survived the winter somehow, and I got it in the ground very early, and it's already up to my waist. And you can see my hand for scale. So this one might actually have plenty of time to put on fruit and ripen before the winter comes. So this one will be fun. The other ones are a little smaller. I doubt they'll make it, but this one is well on its way and has a nice little stalk on it. So this one will be fun to watch. Hopefully with some luck, it'll actually make some good fruit for us. We got our potato vine. We got our butterfly bush. As we kind of come down one of our little paths here, we can see I've got my sweet potatoes put in the ground over here and some passion flower put along the fence line. Nothing too crazy. The Mexican sunflowers are really coming to life. Here's one Mexican sunflower plant, and look how tall this joker is. Again, I'm 6 foot and I can't even come close to reaching the top of it. So they need a good chop and drop. They'll really benefit from that. Here's one of our mini patches here. We've got peppers, apple tree, hydrangea, more peppers, papyrus, mulberry tree hiding back there. Here's a blueberry, jalapeno pepper plant, which as you can see has got some nice, got some nice peppers coming in on it. I'll let those kind of ripen here on the vine. Here's another watermelon patch, and they're just going wild, getting all over the place. The elephant ears are coming to life. We've got the gardenia bush coming to life. This is monstera and elephant ears kind of mixed together. This is a Meyer lemon tree. He's really doing great. This is actually a cutting from a tree I bought at the store, and the cutting's doing better than the main tree, wouldn't you know it? Let's see, we've got a plum tree, another crepe myrtle. Again, these huge clumps of lemongrass are just all through the yard. We've got more monstera, more elephant ear. This is what you call an angel trumpet tree, and it will get, maybe 8-9 feet tall and make huge, massive, foot-long, trumpet-shaped white flowers that smell amazing. Another gardenia, more, mulberry. As we make our way back to the fence line here, again, we've got beans, tomatoes, wisteria, magnolia tree coming back, elephant ears, all kind of along the fence line, trained along the chain link to kind of, give a little bit of privacy in there. Alrighty, y'all, here's a massive tomato plant that just sort of volunteered and sprung up right along my fence line here. So clearly a squirrel or a bird from last year got a tomato and deposited the seeds. But I have just tons and tons and tons of cherry tomatoes now starting to pop up just all over the place. There's almost too many to count here. It's getting a little bit unruly, but hey, that's a good problem to have. And of course, wouldn't you know it, it's the one that I've put the least effort into that's doing the best, right? And as we come back around here towards the front, Here's yet another banana patch. No flowers on it yet, but lots of the trees are actually starting to lean, as you can see. So that's a good sign. I've even had to prop some of them up. That probably they will start spitting out some flowers here soon. But for now, they've just got some new leaves coming on. And it's amazing what a good rain will do. I have my gutters feeding them water, so they get zillions of gallons of water every time it rains. And we can see now that they're all leaning, which is a good sign they're maturing. Here's another monstera, a baby papaya. It's much younger than the other one, but you know, who knows? We might get lucky and it might get, you know, mature enough to put on a little bit of fruit. There's our watermelon patch. Here's the pepper patch. And you know, there's all kind of peppers in there. Hot, cold, long, short, you name it. I picked most of them already. They're inside, but here's the peach tree. It was struggling, but it's finally coming to life. Here is another Turk's cap hibiscus, transplanted. Mega Mexican sunflower. Again, these need to get chopped back. Chop and drop. Some basil I transplanted. Moringa. Little baby moringa. This is another tomato patch. Again, it's not quite as epic as the one on the fence line, but it's coming along. And there's definitely some little fruit starting to form on some of these little guys. So they'll catch up. I'm not too worried about it. Almost back to the start. And of course, in spirit of the video today, yet another banana tree. Bananas are like chickens. They just come out of nowhere, it seems. And another patch of some baby papayas. Here's a wild native hydrangea. A little different than the kinds you see in the store, but beautiful all the same. Another little wisteria. And we're back to where we started. Alrighty, y'all, thank you for joining me again this week in the garden. I hope you learned us a little something about bananas and what to look for when they start to flower. The main things are that broadened base, right? The tree itself will actually start to lean, and then with any luck, you'll see that sort of football-shaped flower bud emerge from the top. From there, it will then open, the flowers will get pollinated by just regular bees and wasps, that sort of thing, and the fruit will then start to form at the base. And from there, you just want to give them lots of sun, water, and fertilizer. And with any luck, you'll get to have a nice harvest of bananas by the end of the season. If you have to pick them green though, not to worry, they'll often ripen just fine, even on the countertop. So thank you for joining me again this week. We'll see you in the next episode where hopefully we'll get to take a little trip out to the homestead, and we'll also do a little update on the yard to see how things are going. I have a feeling by next week we'll have even more fruit and veg to show off. So thank you for joining me again this week, and we'll see you in the next one. Cheers and chews.